What if a fleeting moment could change the trajectory of a life forever? This question danced in the air of a warm spring afternoon in Nashville, where the sun cast golden rays that seemed to put a spotlight on a scene that would soon ripple through the lives of many. At a bustling intersection, a green light blinked into existence, and Alan Jackson, a country music icon, found himself momentarily paused, not by the traffic in front of him, but by the unexpected performance happening. At the corner, here stood two young sisters, their faces beaming with both the innocence of youth and the weight of dreams that stretched beyond their small frames. The older sister, Lily, a girl of 13, held a guitar that appeared almost oversized for her slight build. Her fingers danced across the strings with a grace that belied her age, each strum resonating with hope. Beside her, her younger sister, Mia, no more than 11, clutched a small speaker and poured her heart into the lyrics of a song that spoke of longing and resilience. As their voices intertwined, a harmony emerged, raw and honest, infusing the air with a soulful energy that captivated all who passed. The cardboard sign they had propped up read, "Sisters Singing for Our Dream." It was a simple label for a powerful mission, one that drew Alan in like a moth to a flame. In that moment, Alan felt a stirring in his chest, a mix of admiration and sorrow. The girls were not just singing, they were fighting against the odds stacked against them. With their mother recently losing her job, the family was teetering on the brink of eviction, and the girls had taken to the streets to raise money for their survival. Music was not just a passion for them, it was a lifeline. Alan's heart ached as he listened, struck by their courage. He could see their vulnerability, the way their eyes sparkled with hope, yet held shadows of fear. They were children, yet they carried the weight of adulthood in their songs. As the light turned green, Alan made an impulse decision that would alter the course of their lives. Instead of driving away, he pulled over, quietly approaching the sisters, who initially did not recognize him. "Why are you out here today?" he asked, his voice gentle yet filled with genuine curiosity. Their story spilled out like a melody, each note tinged with the struggles they faced. The revelation of their hardships struck Alan deeply, igniting a fire within him that he could not ignore. He stood there, entranced as they performed a full song, their voices cascading in a beautiful blend that echoed hope in a world that seemed intent on stifling it. That evening, as he drove home, the memory of their performance lingered in Alan's mind, like a haunting refrain. He recorded a video, speaking candidly about what he had witnessed, his voice thick with emotion. He shared a clip of the girls, singing, urging his followers to support them without revealing their identities for their safety. The response was overwhelming. The video went viral, resonating with thousands who empathized with the sisters' plight and talent. The next day, Alan returned to the same corner, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. He invited Lily and Mia, along with their mother, for lunch, where he finally unveiled his true identity. The moment of realization, when their eyes widened in shock and disbelief, was etched in his memory forever. Here was a man who had walked the path of dreams, and now he was offering them a chance to pursue their own. Alan didn't just want to help financially, he wanted to invest in their future. He offered studio time, vocal coaches, and mentorship, but more importantly, he offered his unwavering support. As the weeks unfolded, the girls began to gain traction in the music world, their story captivating not only the Nashville community, but also the broader music industry. Alan invited them to perform on stage during one of his shows, their debut in front of thousands of fans, a moment that would forever be etched in their hearts. The experience was electric, a whirlwind of emotions that brought tears to Alan's eyes as he watched them shine. Yet amidst the joy, Alan couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was just beginning. During his time with Lily and Mia, he began to see the broader landscape of their community. It was a tapestry woven with stories of struggle, where many children possessed remarkable talent but lacked the resources to nurture it. This revelation ignited a new passion in Alan. He resolved to do more. With the help of supportive friends and fellow musicians, he established a foundation dedicated to providing musical opportunities for children in need. This initiative would not only help Lily and Mia, but countless others who were similarly blessed with talent, yet shackled by circumstance. As Alan navigated this new journey, he couldn't help but reflect on his own early struggles in the industry. He remembered the countless nights spent playing in dingy bars, the uncertainty that loomed over him like a storm cloud. Those memories fueled his desire to create a tangible change, to ensure that no child felt alone in their pursuit of a dream. Through his foundation, he aimed to break down the barriers that often separated talent from opportunity, ensuring that every child had a chance to express themselves through the power of music. In the heart of Nashville, beneath the glow of streetlights and the hum of traffic, a new narrative was being written, a tale of resilience, sisterhood, and the transformative power of music. It was a story that transcended the ordinary, rooted in shared struggles and collective triumphs. As the sisters prepared for their next performance, they were not just singing for their dream, they were paving the way for others to follow. And so the journey continued, a testament to the idea that sometimes a simple act of kindness can ripple through lives, creating waves of change that reach far beyond what we can see. In the intersection of dreams and reality, Alan, Lily, and Mia found not only their voices, but a community bound together by the universal language of music. A reminder that in the darkest of times, hope could always find a way to shine through. As the days turned into weeks, the whirlwind of excitement that enveloped Lily and Mia began to settle into a more complex reality. The initial thrill of newfound fame was intoxicating, but it came with its own set of hurdles that tested their resolve and threatened to unravel the very fabric of their sisterhood. The sisters found themselves grappling with the pressure of expectations, both from the public and themselves. They had risen from obscurity to the spotlight in what felt like the blink of an eye, yet the weight of their dreams felt heavier than ever. Alan, who had become a mentor and father figure to them, noticed the subtle shifts in their demeanor. Lily, once exuberant and full of dreams, began to retreat into herself. The carefree laughter that had once filled the air was replaced by a constant stream of self-doubt. She had always been the protector, the one who encouraged Mia to chase her dreams, yet now she feared that she was leading them into a world where their modest beginnings could be a source of ridicule. The pressure to perform, to live up to the expectations of their new fans and the music industry began to gnaw at her confidence. Mia, though still bright and optimistic, felt the weight of her sister's struggles. She sensed Lily's hesitations and felt a growing responsibility to uplift her. But Mia was just a child herself, caught in the whirlwind of success and the harsh realities that often accompanied it. The sisters had always leaned on each other, but now, with the world watching, the dynamics began to shift. The balance of their relationship was tested, and they found themselves at odds, each struggling to navigate their own fears while trying to support the other. The introduction of new characters added further complexity to their journey. Sarah, a seasoned music producer with a sharp eye for talent, took an interest in the sisters after hearing a demo of their work. She was ambitious and relentless, pushing them to hone their craft and develop a polished image that would sell. While her intentions were rooted in helping them succeed, her approach often felt overwhelming. She had a vision, and it didn't always align with the sisters' dreams. The pressure to conform to the industry's expectations began to strain their artistic integrity, causing rifts in their once harmonious relationship. Sarah's insistence on a specific sound and image clashed with the authenticity that had initially drawn fans to them. Meanwhile, Alan found himself caught in the crossfire of conflicting desires, the need to support the sisters and the necessity of respecting their creative autonomy. He tried to mediate the tension that arose between them and Sarah, but his own insecurities bubbled to the surface. He questioned whether he had done the right thing by introducing them to the industry. Had he set them up for success? Or had he inadvertently placed them on a path that could lead to their downfall? The emotional toll was palpable. One evening, during a rehearsal, Lily stormed out after an intense argument with Sarah about the direction of their next single. Mia watched, helplessly, feeling torn between loyalty to her sister and the excitement of professional advancement. Alone in the parking lot, Lily sat on the curb, her head in her hands, overwhelmed by a flood of emotions, frustration, confusion, and an aching fear that they were losing themselves. It was in that moment of vulnerability that Alan found her, his heart aching at the sight of her distress. He sat down beside her, and for the first time, the facade of the country music star cracked. "Do you remember why you started singing?" he asked gently, the warmth of his voice contrasting with the cool evening air. Lily looked up, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Because it made me feel free," she whispered, the truth of her words hanging heavily between them. Alan nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "And what about Mia? What do you think she feels when she sings?" Lily thought for a moment, her mind racing with memories of their shared performances, the joy, the laughter, the feeling that they were invincible together. "She feels it too," Lily admitted, "but I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose us." Alan's heart ached for the girls. He understood all too well the struggle of trying to balance personal dreams with the demands of an industry that often prioritized image over authenticity. He had faced similar battles early in his career, and he knew that the pressure to conform could suffocate passion. "You have to stay true to yourselves," he urged. "This journey is yours. Don't let anyone take that from you." As the two sat together under the stars, a fragile bond was reforged. Alan's words resonated with Lily, reigniting her determination to fight for their artistic integrity. But the challenges were far from over. The rift between the sisters widened as they struggled to navigate the tumultuous waters of fame and expectation. Mia, feeling the weight of her sister's despair, began to express her own frustrations, leading to explosive arguments that echoed through their home. The emotional tension reached a breaking point when Alan organized a charity concert to benefit the foundation he had created, one that aimed to help children like Lily and Mia find their voices. The event promised to showcase their journey and the mission of the foundation, but the sisters' conflicting visions for their performance turned into a battleground. Mia wanted to perform a new song that they had written together, a reflection of their personal struggles and triumphs. But Lily, still reeling from the pressure, believed they needed to stick to safe, commercially viable choices to ensure success. Their disagreements escalated, culminating in a bitter fight just days before the concert. "Why can't you see that this is our chance?" Mia shouted, her frustrations spilling over. "We're not just here to make money, we're here to share our story." "And what if they don't want to hear it?" Lily countered, her voice trembling with fear. "What if we fail?" In that moment, the sisters stood on the precipice of their relationship, each grappling with their own fears and insecurities. The bond that had once felt unbreakable now seemed fragile, almost tenuous. Alan watched from a distance, his heart heavy with worry. He knew that their struggles were not just about music. They were about identity, fear, and the unyielding pressure of societal expectations. The stakes were high, and he feared that the very foundation he had built to support them could crumble under the weight of their internal conflicts. In the days leading up to the concert, Alan found himself reflecting on his own journey, the moments of doubt and fear that had shaped him. He understood that growth often came through struggle, and he hoped that Lily and Mia would find their way back to each other. He reached out to Sarah, asking her to step back from the pressure cooker of the studio and allow the sisters the space they needed to reconnect. As the night of the concert approached, the sisters sat together, the silence between them thick and heavy. It was in this stillness that they began to confront not just their differences, but the fears that lay beneath. They shared their dreams, their hopes, and the weight of their worries. "I just want to protect us," Lily confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want this to change us." Mia nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "But we can't let fear control us. We have to be brave, together." In that moment of vulnerability, they found a path back to each other, realizing that their sisterhood was what made them strong. The concert became not just a performance, but a celebration of their journey, a testament to the resilience of their bond. When they stepped onto the stage, hand in hand, the audience erupted in cheers. It was a moment that encapsulated their struggles and triumphs, a reminder that their voices were meant to be heard, not just for their dreams, but for the dreams of countless others. As they began to sing, the melody wrapped around them like a warm embrace, their harmonies echoing through the venue, weaving a tapestry of hope and resilience. The sisters had rediscovered not just their voices, but the power of their connection. Alan watched from the wings, tears streaming down his face, knowing that this was just the beginning of a much larger journey, one that would continue to challenge and inspire them as they navigated the intricate world of dreams, music, and sisterhood. As the weeks passed, the weight of external expectations pressed harder on Lily and Mia. The initial joy of performing at the charity concert had faded, replaced by a grueling schedule filled with interviews, promotional appearances, and endless rehearsals. Each day felt like a battle against an unseen tide that threatened to pull them under. The sisters had begun to feel the strain on their physical health, exhaustion creeping in like a shadow. Mia struggled to maintain her trademark enthusiasm. The spark in her eyes dimmed as she fought through fatigue, often collapsing into bed. After a long day, only to rise early for another round of commitments. Lily, too, felt the physical toll. Her once vibrant voice was now strained from late-night performances and early morning vocal warm-ups. The stress manifested in sleepless nights, leaving her teetering on the brink of burnout. Their relationship, once a safe haven, was now a minefield of unspoken tensions. The pressures of the industry had twisted their dynamic. Each argument became more intense, often revolving around their visions for their music and the direction of their careers. Mia longed to explore new genres, to push boundaries and express their personal experiences through their art. Lily, however, clung to the familiar, afraid of losing the audience they had worked so hard to gain. As the sisters grappled with their differences, Sarah's influence loomed larger. Her relentless pursuit of a commercial sound began to chip away at their confidence. She introduced them to high-profile collaborations, but each time Mia felt the thrill, Lily felt the anxiety. The more they played along with Sarah's vision, the more they felt their own identities fade into the background. The fear of disappointing fans mingled with the dread of disappointing each other. One particularly grueling day, after a long photo shoot that left them feeling drained and exposed, Mia confronted Lily. "We can't keep doing this," she said, her voice trembling with a mixture of frustration and fear. "We're losing ourselves, and it's breaking my heart." Lily snapped back. "You don't understand, Mia. If we don't play it safe, we could lose everything we've built. I can't take that chance." The words stung, leaving a silence filled with hurt and disbelief. The fight morphed into a deep, churning conflict that left both sisters feeling isolated, each retreating into their own world of doubt and fear. Meanwhile, Alan watched helplessly, sensing the rift widening between the girls. He understood the pressure they faced, having navigated the treacherous waters of the music industry himself. He tried to facilitate conversations, encouraging them to talk openly about their dreams and fears, but neither sister was ready to confront the depth of their emotional turmoil. In the midst of this chaos, a new character emerged, Jordan, a charismatic yet controversial figure in the industry, known for his bold and unapologetic approach to music. He approached Lily and Mia with a proposition to collaborate on a project that would challenge the norms of their genre. While Mia found Jordan's vision exciting and refreshing, Lily recoiled at the thought, feeling the ground beneath her shift once again. "Think about it, Lily," Mia urged during a late-night conversation, her voice full of hope. "This could be our chance to break free, to tell our story in a way that's authentic to who we are. We could finally be the artists we've always wanted to be." Lily's heart raced, torn between fear and longing. But what if we fail? What if it's too much? The questions echoed in her mind, amplifying her anxiety. The thought of stepping outside the boundaries felt like standing on the edge of a precipice, with the abyss of failure looming beneath. As tensions simmered, the sisters faced an unexpected setback. A public relations disaster when a tabloid released a fabricated story claiming that their relationship was on the rocks, fueled by their supposed artistic differences. The article twisted their words, framing their struggles as a scandal, and suddenly their private battles were thrust into the public eye. The emotional fallout was immediate. Lily felt exposed and vulnerable, her insecurities magnified by the scrutiny of the media. Mia, on the other hand, was furious and hurt, feeling that their struggles were being exploited and sensationalized. The sisters' public personas were now entangled in a web of speculation, and the pressure to present a united front became suffocating. In the wake of the scandal, Alan tried to protect them, organizing a press conference to address the rumors. But as he stood before the cameras, he could see the strain etched on both sisters' faces. They were mere shadows of their former selves, and the weight of expectation hung heavy in the air. "Lily, Mia, can you clarify the reports about your relationship?" a reporter shouted, cameras flashing like lightning. Lily's heart raced, and her mind went blank. She looked at Mia, who was visibly shaken. "We're fine," Mia said, her voice shaking. "We're just working through some changes." But as the words left her lips, the tension in the air thickened, and it was clear that the facade was cracking. The sisters were not fine, and the world could see it. In the days that followed, the sisters withdrew from social media, retreating into their own separate worlds. Mia threw herself into songwriting, pouring her frustrations onto the page, while Lily sought solace in silence, afraid to confront the feelings that threatened to overwhelm her. The emotional distance grew, as did the anxiety that festered in their hearts. Amidst this turmoil, Alan reached out to Sarah, urging her to reconsider her approach. He emphasized the importance of allowing the sisters to reclaim their narrative, to ensure that their artistry remained authentic. Sarah, however, was focused on the bottom line, dismissing Alan's concerns. "They need to capitalize on this scandal," she insisted, her ambition blinding her to the sisters' emotional well-being. "This is a moment that can elevate them if they play it right." The pressure to conform to Sarah's vision, paired with the media's relentless scrutiny, pushed Lily and Mia to a breaking point. Each sister, trapped in her own fears, spiraled deeper into isolation. The bond that had once been unbreakable felt fragile, and they both began to question if they could weather the storm together. One afternoon, as Mia sat alone in her room, the weight of it all became unbearable. She stared at the blank page before her, the words that once flowed freely now stuck in her throat. The fear of failure loomed large, and in that moment she felt as if she was losing everything she had fought for. Desperate for connection, she reached out to Lily, but the silence that greeted her was deafening. The distance between them felt insurmountable, and Mia felt her heart shatter. She thought of the dreams they had shared, the laughter and the joy of creating music together, and it hurt to think it might be slipping away. Just when it seemed that their struggles might tear them apart for good, a chance encounter at a local cafe shifted the course of their journey. Mia, seeking refuge from the chaos, stumbled upon a group of young musicians who were passionately discussing their own dreams and struggles in the industry. Their authenticity and raw talent resonated with her, and for the first time in weeks, she felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Mia realized that their journey didn't need to be defined by the pressures of fame or the expectations of others. It needed to be rooted in their own truth. Inspired, she hurried home, determined to talk to Lily, to share her newfound perspective. But as she entered their shared space, she found Lily sitting on the floor, surrounded by crumpled pieces of paper, remnants of songs that hadn't come together. The sight broke Mia's heart, and she rushed to her sister's side. "Lily," Mia said softly, kneeling beside her, "we can't let this tear us apart. We have to remember why we started this in the first place." Lily looked up, her eyes filled with pain and uncertainty. "I'm scared, Mia. I don't want to lose us." "I don't want to lose us either," Mia replied, her voice trembling. "But we can't let fear control us. We need to find our voices again, together." As they held each other, the emotional dam that had been holding back their fears began to crack. They spoke openly about their struggles, their dreams, and the pressures that had suffocated them. Each word felt like a release, a step toward reclaiming their narrative. With renewed determination, they decided to take a risk, one that would redefine their journey. They would step away from Sarah's vision and embrace their truth, performing the songs that reflected their experiences, pain, and triumphs. As they prepared for a small, intimate gig at a local venue, the sisters felt a sense of liberation wash over them. They were no longer bound by the expectations of others. They were reclaiming their artistry on their own terms. The night of the performance arrived, and as they took the stage, they felt a wave of support from the crowd, their true fans, who had followed them for their authenticity and passion. As they sang, they poured their hearts into each note, intertwining their voices in a way that felt like coming home. In that moment, it became clear that their journey was not just about fame. It was about sisterhood, resilience, and the power of finding one's voice amidst the chaos. The obstacles they had faced only strengthened their bond, and as they finished their set, the applause was deafening. Alan watched from the back of the venue, tears streaming down his face as he witnessed the transformation of the sisters before him. As the applause gradually faded and the sisters stepped off the stage, the exhilaration of their performance began to settle into a profound realization. Mia and Lily exchanged glances, each one filled with a mix of relief and a newfound understanding of what it meant to be true to themselves. In that moment, they had not only reclaimed their artistry, but also rediscovered the bond that had initially brought them together. However, the celebratory atmosphere was abruptly shattered when a figure approached them from the shadows. It was Jordan, the controversial figure who had previously offered them a life-changing opportunity. His charismatic demeanor now seemed tinged with something darker. "Congratulations on a great show," he said, his voice smooth but laced with an undercurrent of tension. "But I think you too are making a mistake." Mia's heart sank as she braced herself for what might come next. "What do you mean?" she asked, trying to sound confident, though her hands trembled slightly. "By stepping away from mainstream expectations, you're throwing away your chance at real success," Jordan replied, his eyes narrowing. "You think this little gig will satisfy your fans? They want you to be stars, not just another indie act. I can help you get there." Lily felt a surge of anger at Jordan's words. "We're not looking for that kind of success anymore. We want to create music that feels right to us, not what's dictated by someone else," she retorted, her voice steady, but her heart racing. Jordan leaned in closer, lowering his voice. You think you have the luxury to make that choice? The press is already circling. By tomorrow, they'll be back to questioning your relationship. You need me to keep you relevant. The sisters exchanged worried glances, the weight of his words hanging heavy in the air. The fear that had just begun to dissipate started creeping back, threatening to unravel the progress they had made that night. "What do you want from us?" Mia asked, her voice softer now, revealing her vulnerability. "I want to help you," he insisted, the charm returning to his tone. "But it comes with a price. You can't just walk away from the spotlight and expect to stay afloat. I can connect you with the right people, put you back on top, but you have to be willing to play the game." As Jordan walked away, Mia felt a pit form in her stomach. "What if he's right?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. "What if we can't keep doing this on our own?" Lily took a deep breath, grounding herself. "No, Mia, we can't let fear dictate our choices anymore. We just took a huge step towards being who we really are. We need to hold on to that." But the shadow of doubt lingered. The next few days were fraught with tension as the sisters wrestled with Jordan's words, each grappling with their own insecurities. Mia found herself questioning whether their newfound authenticity was enough to sustain them, while Lily remained anxious about the precarious nature of their careers. The turning point arrived abruptly when a video of their performance went viral, capturing the raw emotion that had transpired on stage. Fans flooded social media, not just with praise for their voices, but with stories of how their music had impacted their lives. For the first time, the sisters felt the power of their authenticity resonate beyond their own fears. Amidst the overwhelming support, however, came the backlash. Critics began to emerge, questioning their decision to move away from mainstream music and calling them desperate for trying to make a statement. The negativity stung, and the sisters found themselves once again on the defensive. Alan, sensing the shift in momentum, organized a meeting for the sisters to discuss their next steps. As they sat together, he urged them to reflect on what had transpired. "You've had a breakthrough, but you're also facing resistance. How do you want to respond? This is your moment to choose your path." Lily felt her chest tighten as she struggled to articulate her thoughts. "I want to be brave, but I'm scared. I keep thinking about everything we built and how easily it could be taken away." Mia nodded, her heart heavy. "But if we don't embrace who we are, what's the point? I can't go back to hiding behind someone else's vision. I don't want to lose you, but I don't want to lose myself either." This moment crystallized for both sisters the emotional stakes of their journey. They had been on the brink of losing everything that mattered, not just their careers, but their bond. They realized that it was time to take a stand. "We need to make a statement," Mia said suddenly, her voice firm. "A real one. We can't just respond to the critics. We need to own our narrative. Let's create a song that speaks to everything we've been through, the doubts, the fears, the pressures. We need to show everyone that we're not done yet." Lily's heart raced at the prospect, a flicker of excitement igniting within her. "And let's do it together. No more holding back. We'll tell our story, our way." With a newfound resolve, the sisters set to work. The creative process became cathartic, each note, lyric, and chord reflecting the tumultuous journey they had traversed. They poured their pain into the song, and as they did, they felt the weight of their doubts begin to lift. The emotional toll of the past weeks transformed into a powerful anthem that spoke not just to their struggles, but to the struggles of many. As they prepared to release the single, they felt the ground beneath them shift once again. What had once seemed like a daunting challenge now felt like an opportunity to reclaim their narrative and inspire others in the process. On the day of the release, the sisters stood side by side, hearts racing. They anticipated the reactions, the support, but also the criticism. Yet for the first time in a long while, they felt united in purpose. The song hit the airwaves, and the response was overwhelming. Fans rallied around them, sharing their own stories of resilience and empowerment. The comments flooded in, filled with gratitude and support. The sisters were no longer just performers. They were voices of a generation, unafraid to embrace their truth. As the world began to see them not just as artists, but as individuals with stories to tell, Mia and Lily felt a profound shift within themselves. They had faced the pressures of the industry, the scrutiny of the public, and the fears that had threatened their bond. But in doing so, they had emerged stronger, more authentic, and more connected than ever. The turning point had not only altered their trajectory, it had solidified their commitment to one another. With the weight of external expectations lifted, they stepped into a future that felt filled with possibility and purpose. They were ready to embrace the journey ahead, no longer defined by fear, but empowered by their truth. As the days passed since the release of their empowering anthem, Mia and Lily felt the weight of their choices pressing down on them. The initial surge of support from fans had been exhilarating, but the reality of their situation began to seep in. They were no longer just riding the momentum of their success. They were standing on the precipice of something much larger, something that demanded their full commitment. Mia spent hours in her room, the walls adorned with posters that now felt like relics of a past life. She strummed her guitar absent-mindedly, the notes drifting into the air like whispers of doubt. The echoes of Jordan's voice haunted her, reminding her of the allure of mainstream success and the safety it promised. What if they failed? What if their decision to embrace authenticity was a mistake? Yet, deep down, she felt a flicker of resilience. She recalled the nights of laughter and creativity shared with Lily, the way they had poured their souls into their music. It was those memories that ignited a fire within her, urging her to push through the uncertainty. Meanwhile, Lily was equally caught in the whirlwind of emotions. She found solace in their shared moments, reflecting on how far they had come together. She reached out to friends in the music community, gathering support from those who had faced similar struggles. The camaraderie reminded her that they were not alone in this fight. They had allies who understood the complexities of carving a path in the industry. As the sisters prepared for their upcoming performance, a pivotal moment that would either solidify their new direction or send them spiraling back to the confines of mainstream expectations, they began to strategize. Alan stood by, offering guidance and encouraging them to embrace their unique voices. "You've created something meaningful," he said, his eyes sparkling with belief. "Now it's time to show everyone what that really means. Don't shy away from the message." The emotional preparation was palpable. Mia and Lily spent countless hours rehearsing, not just their music, but also their message. They wanted to ensure that when they stepped on stage, they would be ready to face any backlash while simultaneously celebrating the journey that had brought them there. They drew strength from one another, their bond reinforcing their resolve. Yet, the tension in the air was thick, and with it came an unexpected twist. On the eve of their performance, just as they were putting the finishing touches on their set list, they received a call from an unexpected ally, Sophia, a renowned artist who had once faced her own battles with authenticity and commercialism. She had seen their viral performance and wanted to offer her support, both personally and professionally. "I believe in what you're doing," Sophia said, her voice warm and encouraging. "Let's collaborate on the show. I want to help amplify your message." The offer was a lifeline, an unexpected beacon of solidarity that reminded Mia and Lily of the community they had inadvertently become a part of. As they hung up, the sisters exchanged glances, filled with a mix of gratitude and determination. They had allies now, people who understood the stakes and wanted to stand beside them. With the weight of their choices looming over them, Mia found herself questioning her own readiness. What if she stumbled on stage? What if the critics' words echoed louder than the support they had received? In those moments of solitude, she took time to reflect on her journey. She recalled the countless nights spent dreaming of their music and the purpose behind it. The realization that they were not just performers, but storytellers, filled her with a renewed sense of purpose. Lily, too, was faced with her own doubts. She contemplated the sacrifices they had made, the fears they had confronted, and the risks they were about to take. But as she looked at her sister, she felt an overwhelming sense of unity. They were in this together, and together they could withstand whatever storm lay ahead. On the day of the performance, the atmosphere backstage was electric. The sisters could feel the anticipation buzzing through the air, igniting a mix of excitement and anxiety within them. They dressed in their signature style, a blend of individuality and shared identity, a visual representation of their journey. As they warmed up, they could hear the crowd outside, their energy palpable. Each cheer and shout fueled their determination. Mia took a deep breath, centering herself. No matter what happens out there, we stay true to our message. We're not just singing, we're sharing our story. Lily nodded, her resolve solidifying. And if we stumble, we'll pick each other up. We're stronger together. With one final glance at their setlist, they stepped out onto the stage, the bright lights illuminating their faces. The roar of the crowd enveloped them, and in that moment, they felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. But as they began to play, a figure emerged from the shadows. Jordan, his presence looming like a dark cloud. The sisters exchanged a quick look, and Mia felt her heart race. This was the moment they had prepared for. Yet the realization of facing their past confronted them head-on. Jordan's voice cut through the noise, smooth yet insidious. "You really think you can succeed without me? You're making a mistake." The audience fell silent, the tension palpable. Mia and Lily stood at the crossroads of their journey, their hearts pounding as they faced the embodiment of their fears. But instead of retreating, they felt a surge of empowerment. "No, Jordan, we're not afraid anymore," Mia declared, her voice steady and clear. "We've found our voice, and we're ready to share it." Lily stepped forward, her gaze unwavering. "We're not just artists, we're storytellers, and our stories matter." The crowd erupted into applause, a wave of support washing over them. In that moment, the sisters realized that they had transformed their fear into strength, and with it, they began to play their new anthem. The music swelled around them, intertwining with their emotions, and they poured their hearts into every note. As they performed, they felt the weight of their journey lift, replaced by the warmth of solidarity from their fans and allies. They were no longer just two sisters facing the industry alone. They were part of a larger movement, one that embraced authenticity and encouraged others to find their own voices. And as the final chords rang out, they knew that they had not just conquered the stage. They had confronted their fears, reclaimed their narrative, and united with those who believed in their message. The moment was theirs, and they were ready to embrace whatever came next, together. The moment hung in, the air thick with tension and uncertainty. Mia and Lily stood on stage, the weight of their journey bearing down on them as they faced Jordan, a figure from their past who now embodied their greatest fears. The crowd was a living entity, a mix of excitement and apprehension, their breaths collectively held as they awaited the sisters' response. Jordan's smirk was a taunt, the embodiment of the slick commercial world they had stepped away from. "You think you can just abandon what we built together? You think your little songs can resonate without the right connections? You're making a mistake, and you're going to regret it," he sneered, his voice dripping with condescension. Mia felt a surge of anger mixed with the familiar pang of doubt. Over the years, Jordan had wielded his influence like a weapon, and in this moment it felt as though he was trying to cut deep once more. She could feel the warmth of the stage lights, the pulse of the audience, but all she could hear were the echoes of their past, the nights spent in frustration, the moments of compromise that had chipped away at her spirit. But as she glanced at Lily, standing resolutely beside her, something shifted within her. The sisterhood they shared had been forged in both joy and struggle, and now it was their strength. Mia took a deep breath, drawing on the lessons learned. Through their journey, authenticity over acceptance, unity over isolation. "No, Jordan," Mia said, her voice stronger than she felt. "We're not afraid anymore. We know who we are and we're ready to share our story without you." The audience erupted, a wave of cheers washing over them, and with each clap and shout, Mia felt her confidence swell. She could see the faces in the crowd filled with hope and anticipation, and she realized that this moment was not just about them. It was about everyone who had ever felt pressured to conform, everyone who had ever doubted their worth. Lily stepped forward, her eyes fierce and unyielding. "You don't get to define our success anymore. We've found our voice and we're using it." Her words rang out, each syllable resonating with the raw power of their resolve. In that moment, the crowd became an extension of their strength. They were no longer just performers. They were a movement, a collective voice pushing back against the pressures of conformity. The fear that had once plagued Mia began to dissipate, replaced by a fierce determination. Jordan, sensing the shift, scowled. "You'll regret this. You know, you'll see how quickly the industry turns on you. You can't fight the system." But Mia and Lily had already begun to turn away from that fear, and with a shared nod, they launched into their new anthem. The music surged, a vibrant tapestry of sound that echoed their journey and reflected the power of standing strong in one's truth. As the chords filled the air, Mia poured her heart into every note, channeling her fears and doubts into the music. Each strum of her guitar was a declaration of independence, a refusal to let the past dictate their future. Lily's voice soared, harmonizing perfectly with Mia's, and together they created a sound that was both exhilarating and liberating. The audience responded with fervor, their cheers rising to a crescendo. Mia could feel the energy pulsing through her, igniting her spirit. The fear that had once gripped her heart was now transformed into fuel, propelling them forward. Jordan's presence, once imposing, began to fade into the background as the sisters lost themselves in the performance. They were no longer concerned with his judgment or the shadows of their past. They were reclaiming their narrative. The message was clear. They were powerful, they were resilient, and they would not be silenced. The climax of their performance was a moment of pure catharsis. As they reached the final chorus, Mia could see the crowd swaying, arms raised, a sea of solidarity. In that instant, she knew they had not only confronted their greatest challenge, but had also transcended it. They had stood up against the voice of doubt and emerged victorious, their voices ringing out as a testament to their journey. As the last notes echoed and the applause thundered, Mia and Lily embraced, their hearts pounding in unison. They had faced their fears, confronted their past, and emerged stronger together. The emotional impact of the moment was profound, not just for them, but for everyone in the audience who had felt the weight of expectations and the struggle for authenticity. In that moment, they understood the power of community, the strength found in solidarity, and the importance of staying true to oneself. They had not only reclaimed their music, but had also redefined their purpose. The weight of their choices no longer felt heavy. It felt empowering, a reminder of the resilience they had cultivated through their journey. As they stepped off the stage, the cheers still ringing in their ears, Mia and Lily exchanged a glance filled with understanding. They had not just performed, they had ignited a spark of hope, a message of empowerment that would resonate far beyond that night. They had faced their greatest challenge and emerged victorious, united in their truth, ready to embrace whatever came next. As Mia and Lily stepped off the stage, the echoes of their performance still reverberated in the air. They were enveloped by a whirlwind of emotions. The cheers of the crowd seemed to linger like a warm embrace, a stark contrast to the cold reality. They had faced moments before. They had confronted Jordan, a formidable figure from their past, and declared their independence. The weight of that declaration was both liberating and daunting, and as they navigated through the backstage area, a mix of exhilaration and uncertainty coursed through them. Mia could feel her heart still racing, the adrenaline from their performance, mixing with the realization of what they had just done. They had stepped into the light, embraced their truth, and turned their backs on the shadows of their past. But as they moved toward the exit, the gravity of their actions began to settle in. They had severed ties with the very system Jordan had represented, and while a wave of empowerment surged within her, there was also a flicker of fear. What would happen next? Lily, sensing her sister's internal struggle, placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We did it, Mia. We took a stand. No more hiding." Her voice was steady, yet Mia could see the glimmer of uncertainty in her eyes as well. In that moment, they shared a silent understanding. They were both exhilarated and apprehensive about the path ahead. The aftermath of their decision rippled through the crowd. Fans who had once felt marginalized by the industry's expectations now rushed to them, their faces alight with admiration and hope. Many shared their own stories of struggle, the weight of societal pressures echoing in their words. Mia realized that their performance had transcended mere entertainment. It had sparked a movement, a call for authenticity that resonated deeply with those who crave change. In that moment, Mia recognized the profound impact of their actions. They had not only reclaimed their narrative, but had also inspired others to embrace their own truths. This was more than just a personal victory, it was a collective awakening. As she looked around at the faces in the crowd, Mia felt an overwhelming sense of solidarity. They were all in this together, united in their quest for authenticity and self-acceptance. As they exited the venue, a sense of relief washed over Mia. They had faced their fears head-on and emerged victorious, but the uncertainty of their future loomed large. What would it mean for their careers? Would they be able to sustain this momentum? Yet as they stepped into the cool night air, something shifted within her. The fear that had gripped her moments ago began to dissolve, replaced by a sense of purpose. They had taken a leap of faith, and now they needed to trust in the journey ahead. Reflecting on their performance, Mia replayed the moment they had, sung together, the harmony of their voices weaving a tapestry of resilience. It was a reminder of the bond they shared, forged in both struggle and triumph. They had weathered storms together, and each challenge had brought them closer. Their journey had not been easy, but it had shaped them into who they were now. Strong, unapologetic, and fiercely united. Backstage, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and anticipation. Fellow musicians approached them with congratulations, acknowledging their bravery in standing up to Jordan. Some shared their own experiences of feeling trapped within the industry, and Mia listened intently, realizing how much their stories mirrored her own. In this moment of connection, she felt a wave of empathy wash over her. They were all fighting against the same tide of conformity. As the night wore on, Mia and Lily found themselves surrounded by a diverse group of individuals, all sharing their stories and dreams. It was a beautiful tapestry of voices, each thread representing a unique journey toward empowerment. They had created a space of inclusion and diversity, where everyone felt seen and heard. This was a stark contrast to the narrow vision Jordan had once imposed on them. Mia could see the change in the atmosphere. The energy was palpable, filled with hope and possibility. The sisters had not only reclaimed their music, but had also sparked a dialogue about the importance of staying true to oneself in the face of adversity. It was a moment of collective healing, and Mia felt a deep sense of gratitude for the connections they were forging. As they left the venue, Mia and Lily walked hand in hand, the weight of the past slowly lifting. They had faced their fears, confronted their greatest challenge, and emerged stronger together. The emotional journey they had undertaken, filled with moments of doubt, frustration, and ultimately triumph, had transformed them in ways they were only beginning to understand. In the days that followed, the sisters became more intentional about their music and their message. They began collaborating with other artists who shared their vision of authenticity, creating songs that reflected their newfound purpose. Each note they played became a celebration of their journey and a reminder of the power of sisterhood. They were no longer just performers. They were advocates for change, using their platform to uplift others and challenge established norms. Mia took time to reflect on her personal growth. She had learned that failure was not a destination, but a stepping stone toward success. Each misstep had equipped her with the strength to rise again, and in embracing her vulnerabilities, she had discovered a deeper connection to herself and to others. The scars of her past no longer felt like burdens. Instead, they were badges of honor, symbols of resilience that she wore proudly. In her quiet moments, Mia would often find herself contemplating the journey that had brought her to this point. She recognized the importance of vulnerability and the power of community. She had learned that true strength lay not in perfection, but in the willingness to embrace one's authentic self. This revelation reshaped her understanding of success, leading her to redefine her relationship with ambition and personal values. Lily, too, underwent a transformation. Her confidence blossomed as she embraced her role as an artist and an advocate. The performance had ignited a fire within her, and she became passionate about using their music to challenge societal expectations. Together, the sisters forged a new path, one that prioritized creativity, authenticity, and the celebration of diversity. Their journey inspired others to challenge the status quo. Fans began sharing their own stories of overcoming obstacles, and the sisters created a platform for those voices to be heard. Mia realized that their actions had generated concrete transformations in their community. They were not just musicians, but catalysts for social change, uplifting others as they forged ahead. As they prepared for their next performance, a benefit concert supporting young artists, Mia felt a sense of peace wash over her. They were stepping into a new chapter, one filled with promise and purpose. They had learned the importance of collaboration, solidarity, and the power of standing together in the face of adversity. In that moment of reflection, Mia understood that their journey was not just about music. It was about connection, empowerment, and the unwavering belief in the strength of one's truth. They had faced betrayal, doubt, and fear, but they had emerged transformed, united in their mission to inspire others. The path ahead was still uncertain, but Mia felt ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that she had the resilience to navigate it all. With that realization, Mia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past lift further away. She was no longer just Mia, the girl who had once cowered in the shadows. She was a force of change, an advocate for authenticity, and a voice for those who felt unheard. The future stretched out before her like an uncharted landscape, and she was ready to explore it with her sister by her side. Together, they would continue to shine a light on their journey, leaving a trail of hope and inspiration for others to follow. As Mia and Lily stepped off the stage, the echoes of their performance still reverberated in the air. They were enveloped by a whirlwind of emotions. The cheers of the crowd seemed to linger like a warm embrace, a stark contrast to the cold reality they had faced moments before. They had confronted Jordan, a formidable figure from their past, and declared their independence. The weight of that declaration was both liberating and daunting, and as they navigated through the backstage area, a mix of exhilaration and uncertainty coursed through them. Mia could feel her heart still racing, the adrenaline from their performance, mixing with the realization of what they had just done. They had stepped into the light, embraced their truth, and turned their backs on the shadows of their past. But as they moved toward the exit, the gravity of their actions began to settle in. They had severed ties with the very system Jordan had represented, and while a wave of empowerment surged within her, there was also a flicker of fear. What would happen next? Lily, sensing her sister's internal struggle, placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We did it, Mia. We took a stand. No more hiding." Her voice was steady, yet Mia could see the glimmer of uncertainty in her eyes as well. In that moment, they shared a silent understanding. They were both exhilarated and apprehensive about the path ahead. The aftermath of their decision rippled through the crowd. Fans who had once felt marginalized by the industry's expectations now rushed to them, their faces alight with admiration and hope. Many shared their own stories of struggle, the weight of societal pressures echoing in their words. Mia realized that their performance had transcended mere entertainment. It had sparked a movement, a call for authenticity that resonated deeply with those who craved change. In that moment, Mia recognized the profound impact of their actions. They had not only reclaimed their narrative, but had also inspired others to embrace their own truths. This was more than just a personal victory, it was a collective awakening. As she looked around at the faces in the crowd, Mia felt an overwhelming sense of solidarity. They were all in this together, united in their quest for authenticity and self-acceptance. As they exited the venue, a sense of relief washed over Mia. They had faced their fears head-on and emerged victorious, but the uncertainty of their future loomed large. What would it mean for their careers? Would they be able to sustain this momentum? Yet, as they stepped into the cool night air, something shifted within her. The fear that had gripped her moments ago began to dissolve, replaced by a sense of purpose. They had taken a leap of faith, and now they needed to trust in the journey ahead. Reflecting on their performance, Mia replayed the moment they had, sung together, the harmony of their voices weaving a tapestry of resilience. It was a reminder of the bond they shared, forged in both struggle and triumph. They had weathered storms together, and each challenge had brought them closer. Their journey had not been easy, but it had shaped them into who they were now. Strong, unapologetic, and fiercely united. Backstage, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and anticipation. Fellow musicians approached them with congratulations, acknowledging their bravery in standing up to Jordan. Some shared their own experiences of feeling trapped within the industry, and Mia listened intently, realizing how much their stories mirrored her own. In this moment of connection, she felt a wave of empathy wash over her. They were all fighting against the same tide of conformity. As the night wore on, Mia and Lily found themselves surrounded by a diverse group of individuals, all sharing their stories and dreams. It was a beautiful tapestry of voices, each thread representing a unique journey toward empowerment. They had created a space of inclusion and diversity, where everyone felt seen and heard. This was a stark contrast to the narrow vision Jordan had once imposed on them. Mia could see the change in the atmosphere. The energy was palpable, filled with hope and possibility. The sisters had not only reclaimed their music, but had also sparked a dialogue about the importance of staying true to oneself in the face of adversity. It was a moment of collective healing, and Mia felt a deep sense of gratitude for the connections they were forging. As they left the venue, Mia and Lily walked hand in hand, the weight of the past slowly lifting. They had faced their fears, confronted their greatest challenge, and emerged stronger together. The emotional journey they had undertaken, filled with moments of doubt, frustration, and ultimately triumph, had transformed them in ways they were only beginning to understand. In the days that followed, the sisters became more intentional about their music and their message. They began collaborating with other artists who shared their vision of authenticity, creating songs that reflected their newfound purpose. Each note they played became a celebration of their journey and a reminder of the power of sisterhood. They were no longer just performers, they were advocates for change, using their platform to uplift others and challenge established norms. Mia took time to reflect on her personal growth. She had learned that failure was not a destination, but a stepping stone towards success. Each misstep had equipped her with the strength to rise again, and in embracing her vulnerabilities, she had discovered a deeper connection to herself and to others. The scars of her past no longer felt like burdens. Instead, they were badges of honor, symbols of resilience that she wore proudly. In her quiet moments, Mia would often find herself contemplating the journey that had brought her to this point. She recognized the importance of vulnerability and the power of community. She had learned that true strength lay not in perfection, but in the willingness to embrace one's authentic self. This revelation reshaped her understanding of success, leading her to redefine her relationship with ambition and personal values. Lily, too, underwent a transformation. Her confidence blossomed as she embraced her role as an artist and an advocate. The performance had ignited a fire within her, and she became passionate about using their music to challenge societal expectations. Together, the sisters forged a new path, one that prioritized creativity, authenticity, and the celebration of diversity. Their journey inspired others to challenge the status quo. Fans began sharing their own stories of overcoming obstacles, and the sisters created a platform for those voices to be heard. Mia realized that their actions had generated concrete transformations in their community. They were not just musicians, but catalysts for social change, uplifting others as they forged ahead. As they prepared for their next performance, a benefit concert supporting young artists, Mia felt a sense of peace wash over her. They were stepping into a new chapter, one filled with promise and purpose. They had learned the importance of collaboration, solidarity, and the power of standing together in the face of adversity. In that moment of reflection, Mia understood that their journey was not just about music. It was about connection, empowerment, and the unwavering belief in the strength of one's truth. They had faced betrayal, doubt, and fear, but they had emerged transformed, united in their mission to inspire others. The path ahead was still uncertain, but Mia felt ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that she had the resilience to navigate it all. With that realization, Mia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past lift further away. She was no longer just Mia, the girl who had once cowered in the shadows. She was a force of change, an advocate for authenticity, and a voice for those who felt unheard. The future stretched out before her like an uncharted landscape, and she was ready to explore it with her sister by her side. Together, they would continue to shine a light on their journey, leaving a trail of hope and inspiration for others to follow. As they stood side by side, gazing out at the horizon, Mia felt the stirrings of excitement within her. She envisioned a future filled with music that spoke to the heart, performances that inspired change, and a community that uplifted and embraced everyone, no matter their background. The sisters had become more than just artists. They had become beacons of hope in a world that often pushed people aside. In that moment, as the sun began to rise, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Mia understood the core lesson of their journey. It was not about the accolades or the fame, but rather the connections forged and the lives touched along the way. Their purpose had crystallized into something beautiful, a commitment to authenticity, inclusivity, and empowerment. And as they took their first steps into this new chapter, Mia turned to Lily with a smile. "No matter what happens next, we'll face it together." "Yes," Lily replied, her eyes sparkling with determination. "Together." In the spirit of their journey, they resolved to continue sharing their story, inviting others to join them in the celebration of authenticity and the power of unity. This was just the beginning, and the possibilities were endless. The world was waiting to hear their voices, and they were ready to sing, louder and prouder than ever before. Mia's heart swelled with hope as she looked at her sister. They had not only transformed their own lives, but had the potential to inspire countless others. "Together we can change the world," she said, her voice filled with conviction. In that moment, as they stepped forward, the sisters knew they were on the brink of something extraordinary. Their journey would continue, not just for themselves, but for everyone who had ever felt lost or unheard. And with each note they sang, they would remind the world that authenticity is a powerful force, capable of breaking barriers and inspiring change. As they moved into the future, they carried with them a message of resilience, courage, and the importance of embracing one's truth. The sisters were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that they were not alone, and that together they could conquer anything. And